So our scripture passage today, if you would like to follow along in the reading, is Genesis chapter 9, verse 8. Genesis chapter 9, verse 8. In the tradition I grew up in, the pastor would wait until everybody was looking up and had their place in the Bible. But, I know that y'all are different than what I grew up in. I know. But still, for those that are looking, it's Genesis chapter 9, verse 8. Then God said to Noah. So this is the end of the Noah story. The flood has already happened. The ark has already been built. All the animals on the ark, and they're back on land. Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, "As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, and every animal of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off from the waters by the waters of a flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I made between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy my flesh, all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth." God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all the flesh that is on the earth." A surefire way that a passage is really old and began as an oral tradition is that it's repetitive. It's repetitive and says the same thing over and over and over. This passage does that. It's a little cumbersome because it was oral first, and then it was written down probably in multiple different ways. And when they finally wrote it down, they wanted to preserve all of those pieces. And so they wanted to put it all in there. And it's all right there in all these different threads. Anyway, I love that. It can be a little hard to read, but I love it. So today, as we have done all month long, we're talking about hope. And today, I want you to look into your life and find where you can be the hope to the world. Every single one of you can be hope to the world. So I can tell you about how I want to make a difference in the world, where I see I can bring hope. Many of you know my story. I'm from a much more conservative tradition where the Bible is used to keep women silent. I received multiple letters when I was longing to become a minister, when I was hearing God's call. I received letters telling me that, women should be silent in the church, which is an actual quote from the Bible. And I was told that multiple times in multiple ways that women should not speak in church. And so I have a real passion for how the Bible is used to hurt people. How the Bible is used to hurt people is one of the things that really drives me. I can put a lot of energy into that. I can really get behind it and say, it doesn't have to be that way. This is really a good book, and it really doesn't have to be that way. And that's a place that I can really try to bring hope because I have experienced it. I know what that's like. It was really difficult to continue to hear a voice of God telling me to become a minister, and a longing in my heart that would not go away, and yet know that the Bible was used to keep me silent. And of course, continues to do so in very subtle ways. It continues, people when they meet me for the very first time, I'll introduce myself. Hi, I'm Linda Tucker. And somewhere in that introduction, it'll be, so what do you do? I'm a minister. And then it gets confusing because they'll say, oh, you're a minister's wife? Which I am. I'm like, well, yes, but I'm also a minister. Oh, you're a minister. So it takes a couple of pauses in their brain. So you're a minister. Yes, I'm a minister. Oh, okay. And then there's that, are they going to be okay with that? Or are they not going to be okay with that? And if they're not okay, you can just feel that, that step back. They're not okay with that. And so then my job is really clear that more than likely they have internalized a text, a Bible, that rejects people, right? And so then my job is really clear that I have to make sure that I am as clear to them about my calling and who I feel like God has called me to be, and be open to who they are, and see if that new interpretation of the Bible or different interpretation of the Bible can enter into their life. So that's how I see my life making a difference in the world, is to bring about a way for the Bible to not be used for pain, but to be used for good. I don't know what it is that God has for you to make a difference in the world, but there is a way for you to bring hope in the world. And every single one of us, it's a different hope, it's a different light, and this world needs us all. Needs us all. So it's really, really important that we figure out how it is that we're bringing hope to the world. Okay? We read about Noah and the bow in the clouds, the rainbow. So it literally, they think it comes from, when a bow and arrow is shot up, it has an arc. And so, that's of course, what the rainbow does, is an arc. So the bow in the sky. So God shot a bow to create the colors. Now, I have to point this out. I believe in science. The Noah story is complicated for someone that believes in science, right? So I just want to tell you that this is a story that has a lot of meaning, but it is not fact for us to worry about. So we're going to talk about the meaning of that story. And so I don't want you to get too confused by that. This bow that's in the sky, the rainbow, I hope that you recognized that the bow in the sky is a sign of God's covenant, so that God remembers what God is planning on doing. God can remember that God is planning on not doing that again. God is not going to do that flood thing again. So the bow is a sign that when it rains hard, God's going to stop the rain and not do that again. Now, what's beautiful about that is that every sign of hope, every sign, a marker of change, of doing something different, it has ripples effects to places we do not know. When we act and bring hope to the world, it will have more of an impact than we can possibly imagine. I don't know about you, but every time I see a rainbow, I feel more hopeful because somewhere along the way I learned that this story is about hope. It's about hope. And even if you're not grown up in the church, even if you're not raised in the church, there's something about the rainbow that still brings out that it's just inherent in seeing a rainbow, that it is a sign of hope. It is somehow in our Christian cultural DNA that when we see a rainbow, we know it's a sign of hope. That is, that's part of our Christian tradition that is really deep in our culture. Now, I don't think that Noah, when he saw that rainbow, the story, but I don't think that first, that rainbow ever knew where it was really going to go and all the places it was going to go and all the signs of hope that it was going to go. I don't know if you know this, but the flag, the flag for LGBTQ flag, I'm missing the name of it. Freedom flag? What's it? Pride, thank you. Pride, that's the word. The pride flag of all the colors, the rainbow colors. Rainbow. I don't know that Noah knew how far that rainbow would go. So the pride flag was created by Gilbert Baker in San Francisco back in the 60s. It's amazing how far things have come in 40, 50 years, right? I mean, how far that flag, that rainbow has come. About a month ago, Gilbert passed away. And, we are so grateful for a symbol that makes a huge difference in the world. It is one of the inspiring things that we use to make our own sign. We wanted it really clear where we stood. When we see a rainbow in the sky, we see hope, and our hearts are uplifted. We wanted a symbol and an image that when it was seen, that it was really clear who and what we are, so that people can also have hope and be uplifted. 40 years. 40 years ago, homosexuality was a crime in some states. It was also, considered a mental illness. These are things that are so foreign today. And it really didn't take that long, 40 years. It's amazing how quickly hope can change things. So I want to talk about two environments, two lands, shall we say. The first land is the land of no hope. The land of no hope. And I dare say that it will look familiar to you. The land of no hope is full of despair. All you have to do is turn the TV on, and you can feel the despair of the world. Drive through downtown, and you can see the despair of the world. Defeatism. Nothing I do is going to make a difference. That's the land of no hope. Cynicism, sarcasm, the land of no hope. Isolation. We are more lonely than ever in our culture right now. The land of no hope. Absolute fatigue. I'm so tired, I'm just going to buzz out on my phone for a little while. I'm so tired. Land of no hope. I'm going to just go back to sleep because, there's really nothing I can do to make a difference anyway. A land of no hope. Now, when we start believing in hope, when we start recognizing the race is all the races of the world are really one humanity. When we start caring for our world and worrying about the water, the air, the plants, when we start worrying, when we start saying that violence is not okay, hitting is never okay for our children, when we start seeing a life that does not have a home to be in and saying, gosh, everyone needs that. Everyone needs fresh air. Everyone needs to be able to care for their body. When we start when we start looking really carefully at the world, you know the first thing that happens? Some folks get mad. I mean, really mad. Furious. Furious. That's the first thing that happens when hope starts to rise. You look carefully and furious. So in the land of no hope, in that beginning awakening, you encounter anger and furiousness. Transitioning from the land of no hope to the land of hope, there really is a place of hope, and there can be in your life as well. But here's the very first thing. We have to ignore the furious, we have to ignore the anger of others that we're starting to wake up, and we have to allow that rush of pain and struggle. In the land of no hope, we can entertain ourselves away from suffering and pain, but no change happens without struggle and hurt. So we have to kind of brace ourselves. If we want to be a part of this hope train, we're going to have to experience some difficulty. And that's okay. That really is okay. Struggle, pain can be okay. So, the land of hope actually involves struggle. It involves really looking carefully at struggle and pain. You look at your own life. I know where I felt hopelessness. I know where I want hope. I want the church to not be causing pain. That's where I want hope. I don't know where you want it. But here's a key. Where you feel the most hopeless, that might be where you need to wake up. Allow yourself to feel the hopelessness of that place so that change can happen. So we become aware that struggle might happen, and to stand in the land of hope is that we also cast a bow, a rainbow, an arrow. We cast an arrow into the horizon, into the future. How do we do that? Through imagination and dreams. We can't do it without looking really clearly at pain and suffering. And then we start dreaming. Also, a key to where is my hope going to be? Where am I going to make a difference? If you find that somewhere in your life there's some uncertainty, maybe that is God telling you you could make a difference there. You could make a difference there. Uncertainty can be a key to where some hope needs to live. So that arrow is cast, that imagination is starting to dream, and then you take action. Hope without action will die. It will die. It will go back into the land of no hope, and you'll go back to sleep. back into cynicism, back into believing there's nothing you can really do. Don't believe in that. Each and every one of us are stronger than we think, and we can make more of a difference than we realize. Because history is full of common dreams that came together and made a huge difference. History is full of ground swellings, of turning points, of watersheds, of paradise in the midst of struggle. If Noah had only known what a rainbow can mean and how it can make such a huge difference. We are so grateful that our world is more open because of a rainbow flag. I am so grateful for what hope you are going to bring in the world. So what is it going to be? Next Sunday, to continue our discussion about hope, I just want to give you some preparation that we're going to talk about suicide. We're going to talk about the absolute hopelessness that some people experience. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that.